We as kids, as teenagers, even as adults who were all once children, know the emotional challenges of growing up. Sometimes we find ourselves blinded from seeing what really matters in life, and we become insensitive to the love that is shared from the people that matter most in our lives and will love us to the end, our family and our parents. This is the story of a boy named Jack, his Chinese mom and American dad. As Jack grows up, he realizes the social pressures of having a mom who can't speak English and doesn't act American. But soon he will come to realize that his mom's love for him matters more than anything else, and that this love, or I in Chinese, will never fade and never die. This is Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu. One of my earliest memories starts with me sobbing. Mom took me into the kitchen, sat me down. She pulled out a sheet of wrapping paper from on top of the fridge. She pleated, packed, tucked, rolled, and twisted, and a little paper tiger stood on the table. Zhe jiao, zhe ji. This is called origami. I didn't know it at the time, but Mom's kind was special. At my request, Mom also made a goat, a deer, and a water buffalo. And one day, I saw a TV documentary about sharks and asked Mom for one of my own. That shark lived happily ever after in a goldfish bowl. Dad had picked Mom out of a catalog. The catalog said she was 18, loved to dance, and spoke good English. None of these facts turned out to be true. When I was 10, we moved to a new house. Two of the neighbors came by to welcome us. Dad served them drinks and then apologized for having to run off to the utility company. Make yourselves at home. My wife doesn't speak much English, so don't think she's being rude for not talking to you. The neighbors conversed in the living room, not trying to be particularly quiet. Something about mixing never seems right. The child looks unfinished, slanty eyes, white face, a little monster. I said nothing and went to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and told myself I look nothing like her, nothing. At dinner, I asked Dad, "Do I have a chink face?" "No, you don't." "Sha jiao chink." "English, just speak English." What happened? We should eat American food. 不好吃. English, just speak English. 发烧了. English, just speak English. It's not that hard. If I say love, I feel here. But if I say I feel here. I packed the paper menagerie into a shoebox and shoved it into the corner of the attic, as far away from me as possible. If Mom spoke to me in Chinese, I refused to answer her. After a while, she tried to use more English, but her accent and broken sentences embarrassed me. Eventually, she stopped speaking altogether. Mom began to mime things if she needed to let me know something. She tried to hug me the way she saw American mothers do on TV. Mom even learned to cook American style. New paper animals would appear on my nightstand every night and try to cuddle me up. But I caught them, squeezed the life out of them, and put them away in the shoebox in the attic. Mom finally stopped making the animals for me when I was in high school. By then her English was much better, but I had already reached an age where I didn't care for what she had to say, whatever language she used. Dad and I stood one on either side of Mom lying on the hospital bed. For years, she had refused to go to the doctor for the pain inside of her that she said was no big deal. And finally, the cancer had spread far beyond the limits of surgery. My mind wasn't in the room. It was the middle of on-campus recruiting session, and I was focused on resumes, transcripts, and strategically constructed interview schedules. I understood intellectually that it was terrible to think of this while your mother lay dying, but that didn't change how I felt. I know you have to go back to school. Go, don't worry about me. This is not a big deal. If I don't make it, don't be too sad and hurt your health. Just keep the books with you, and every year at Qingming, open it up and think about me. Qingming was the Chinese festival for the dead. Open it once in a while Mama, Aini. Mother loves you. I said I needed to get to the airport early because I didn't want to miss my flight. She died when my plane was somewhere over Nevada. It was the first weekend in April, about 2 years after Mom's death. I was at home, lazily flipping through TV channels, and I paused at a documentary about sharks. And suddenly I saw in my mind Mom's hands as they folded tinfoil to make a shark for me. I heard a rustle and looked up, and I saw that a ball of wrapping paper was on the floor. The ball shifted, and I saw that it was Lao Hu, the paper tiger. He got up and proceeded to unfold himself, and in my hand was a crinkled paper filled with dense Chinese characters. I went to the computer to check the internet, and today was Qinming. Son, we haven't talked in a long time. You are so angry when I try to touch you that I am afraid. I think maybe this pain I feel all the time now is something serious. So I decided to write to you in the paper animals that I made for you. All this time, I still haven't told you the story of my life. I was born in 1957 in Siglu village, Hebei province. Siglu is famous for its Jeji paper craft. My mother taught me how to make paper animals and give them life. But then came the Cultural Revolution in 1966. Neighbor turned on neighbor, brother against brother. Your poor grandmother, she couldn't take the abuse and threw herself down a well. Then some boys came with hunting rifles, and they dragged your grandfather away into the woods, and he never came back. There I was, a 10-year-old orphan. I snuck away one night, and some men caught me trying to steal food. They hid me in the bottom of a truck with other girls and smuggled us across the border. We were taken into a basement and told to look healthy for buyers. The Chin family picked me. I got up every morning at 4 to prepare breakfast. I did the laundry, swept the floors, and at night I was locked away in a cupboard to sleep. If I was slow or did anything wrong, I was beaten. And if I was caught trying to learn English, I was beaten. 6 years I lived like this. And one day an old woman who sold fish to me at the market, she pulled me aside. She told me about American men who wanted Asian wives. If I could cook, clean, he would give me a good life. And that is how I got into the catalog. I know it is not a very romantic story, but it is my story. In the suburbs of Connecticut, I was lonely, but then you were born. I was so happy when I looked into your face and I saw the shades of my mother, my father, and myself. I would teach you my language, and we could together remake a small piece of everything I had loved and lost. When you said your first words to me in Chinese that had the same accent as my mother and me, I felt there were no worries in the world. When I made the first Jeji animals for you and you laughed, I cried for hours. And then you grew up a little and you could even help me and your father talk with each other. Son, I know that you do not like your Chinese eyes, which are my eyes. I know you do not like your Chinese hair, which is my hair. But can you understand how much joy your very existence brought to me? And can you understand how it felt when you stopped talking to me? I felt like I was losing everything all over again. Why won't you talk to me, son? The pain makes it hard to write. I stared at the paper in my hand, processing everything I had just read. And tracing out the character for love, on the paper below Mom's letter, I wrote the character again and again, intertwining my pen strokes with her words. Following the creases, I folded the paper back into Lao Hu. I cradled him in my arms, and we were home. Thank you.